Hi, welcome to Bigfoot Adventures. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be telling you the story that came to me from a girl named Sarah. While they were hiking in the North Carolina mountains, they had a sighting. So stay tuned. Welcome to Bigfoot Adventures. Have you ever had a Bigfoot sighting? If you have and you don't want to let anybody know that it was you that saw them, or you're afraid to tell your story because you're afraid of you being made fun of, I'd be glad to tell your story for you. All you have to do is email me your story at bigfootadventures411@gmail.com. Let me know what you want me to say, what you don't want me to say, and I can put your story out there so other people can hear about it without you being identified. So with that being said, this next story came to me from a lady named Sarah. Sarah and her boyfriend at the time, Bill, were in North Carolina. They had gone there on vacation. They were visiting his buddy Joe that he was in the military with, and they were hanging out, just enjoying each other's company. And they decided to go on a hike the next day. So Joe picked them up, and they went to this place that Joe knew about, which was right next to a river. And this river, everybody would go tubing down this river. And so you would see people, tubing down. And he said it was a really beautiful place. So they decided they'd take a picnic lunch out there. So Sarah, Bill, and Joe got there. They parked at the trailhead. And they had to walk directly uphill, like up the side of a mountain, to get to the first part of the trail. So they did that. They walked up this little hill. They got up there and they start walking. Well, the guys were a little bit ahead of Sarah, and Sarah kept hearing something on the ridge above her moving around up there, but she kept looking and didn't see anything. Then, as time went by, she started hearing sticks snapping, like something was up there walking around. So she was a little freaked out by this because they were the only car there, and, the guys were just a little bit ahead of her. And then the guys stopped and they were taking rocks and they were, skipping them across the water. And she came up to him and she said, I hear something up on that ridge up there. And the guys just blew it off. Oh, it's probably just a deer or something like that. And she was really nervous about it because it sounded large. Well, they kept walking. The guy's still a little bit ahead of her. She kept hearing something the whole time that she was walking. And they walked about 3.5 miles out. And they stopped and they had a picnic on these big, huge boulder rocks right next to the river. And there was an area where they could get in and swim a little bit and cool off, and there was rocks they could climb on, and they were having a really good time. Well, the whole time that they were there, Sarah said that she felt like something was watching her, but she couldn't put her finger on it. She didn't understand it, why she had this feeling. So when they were on their way back, the guys were ahead of her again, and she kept hearing the snapping. And she looked up, and that's when she said she saw it. She said it looked like a bear standing on its hind legs, but it was swaying back and forth between, from one side of the tree to the next side of the tree. And it was staring at her. And she said that's when the thing picked up a rock and threw it. When she saw this thing throw this rock, she knew this was no bear. So she runs, screaming to the guys, and they stop and they're like, what? And she tells them what she saw. And they just like blew it off. Oh, it's just probably a bear. Don't worry about it. She goes, no, it threw a rock. And they didn't believe her. They just thought she was, hearing things up there and it was an animal. So the next thing they know, they hear this like growl, and they see rocks flying over this ledge. It was like a ridge, but it was coming down the ledge of the ridge. So they're freaking out now. So they all start to run. And as they're running, you can hear this thing moving through the brush. They said trees were breaking, things were snapping, and they run and they run and they run. They finally get back to where the car is, close to where the car is, to walk back down the hill, and they said they could smell this horrid smell. Now, the guys never saw what it was, but Sarah saw something, and I believe what Sarah saw, from what she's telling me, I think she saw a Bigfoot. And I think that they probably got into his territory, or where he thought his territory was, and he wanted no part of them being there. So Sarah said she was freaked out, which I can understand because I've had a sighting. I was freaked out. And she went home and she started researching, and she started talking to Bill about it, and they think she probably saw a Bigfoot. Now, Sarah did not want me to share her last name. She wanted to keep that a secret because, you know, Bill is ex-military as well as Joe. And she said that I could share the location. She said that it did happen southeast of Asheville, North Carolina, on a trail by the river, and that's all she wanted me to share. As a matter of fact, she didn't give me the exact location of it, because she was in fear that somebody would figure out who they were. So I just wanted to share this story. I think it's an incredible story, a very scary story. And don't forget to get outside there and live. And thanks for watching.